Hi, welcome to Ichthus Fishing. My name is Chris. I haven't really done a lot of kayak fishing in my lifetime, but I was looking for a new hobby, so I bought myself a kayak, Perception kayak actually. It's a Perception Pescador Pilot, which is a 12-foot kayak with pedal drive. And so anyway, it's pretty fun, and I've taken it out maybe 5 times, and maybe the last 2 months since I've had it, just because of work, and then the weather's been kind of cold and I haven't wanted to get out there. But so far, I really like the kayak. Now it's here in January here in Texas, and we've had our first real snow about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now normally we don't get any snow in Texas, but at my house we had about 5 inches of snow, which is a lot, especially in Texas. And it was all fun and games until the power went out and it was cold, and I got to thinking, I got my kayak. What about cold weather fishing? What do I do in a kayak? Should I kayak alone in cold water? Do I tell anybody when I go kayak fishing? What if I fall in and can't get back in my kayak? How much time do I have before hypothermia sets in? And all these other questions. So I started searching on the web and looking up hypothermia, and I discovered a lot of stuff that's out there and that I'd never even assumed before. Now I'm going to share with you some of the information that I found off various websites. First off, if you are new to kayaking, like I am, I'm sure you know that you always wear your PFD, or personal flotation device. Always. Because you can't put a price tag on your life. It could save your life, literally. Now, when the water temperature is cold, PFDs can also help you live a little bit longer as well if you fall into the water. Your PFD will allow you to float without using energy, and they're also going to cover a small portion of your body, but that's still going to allow you to lock in some of the warmth when you're in the cold water. Now, when kayaking cold water, you should consider using a dry suit or a wetsuit if you want. And those are all pretty cool, and they work. And a dry suit sounded great to me until I looked at the price tag. Now, those things are really expensive. Did you know that hypothermia can occur anytime weather conditions, including rain, wind, and water temperatures, bring your core body temperature below 95 degrees Fahrenheit? I didn't know that. That was new for me. Now, it can even happen in warmer months when people are out there in the water and they're most likely not to be prepared for cold conditions, which can quickly turn away into a potentially deadly situation. So what can happen if you involuntarily fall into the water? Well, you may gasp when you fall into the drink, which could potentially cause you to suck in a lot of water, which could lead to drowning, which at that point, you're not really worried about hypothermia anymore because you're drowning at that point. So if you notice that you're fixing to fall into the water, you can either hold your breath, or put your hand over your mouth to keep you from involuntarily sucking in some of that water. And that could, save your life, obviously. Now, there are several stages of hypothermia your body goes through when you fall in. The first stage is mild hypothermia. The person feels cold, has violent shivering, and slurred speech. Now, the second stage is medium hypothermia. The person has a loss of muscle control. They experience drowsiness, incoherence, stupor, and exhaustion. The arm and leg movement begins to slow, making it difficult to swim. And your coordination in your muscles and breathing, which makes it difficult to keep your head above the water, which eventually lead to drowning. The third stage is severe hypothermia. The person collapses, they may be unconscious, and show signs of respiratory distress and a cardiac arrest, and probably leading to death. Now, as I said before, hypothermia can occur when your body temperatures drop below 95 degrees. Your core body temperature drops. And exposure to the elements like cold air, wind, rain, and all of that stuff plays a factor in hypothermia. Now, when your body loses heat, you'll also lose your dexterity and result in a loss of consciousness and eventually lead to death. The foremost objective for a person in the water, getting control of breathing and getting out of the water. Now, to accomplish this and to limit heat loss and limit body movement. Now, I would have thought that moving more would start the blood flowing, thus warming you up. And it does. It just actually pumps more cold blood through your system, speeding up the process of hypothermia. So don't swim unless you can reach a nearby boat or a floating object. Swimming lowers your body temperature, and even good swimmers can drown in cold water. Now, even if you can pull yourself partially out of the water, do so. The more of your body out of the water on top of an overturned kayak or anything that floats, the less heat that you're going to lose. Now, especially keep your head out of the water as well if it's possible. Now, this is going to lessen your heat loss and increase survival time. While in the water, you need to keep your clothes on to retain as much body heat as you can. However, the opposite is true. When you get out of the water, you want to take off those wet clothes because that's just going to suck away some of the heat from your body. And you want to either, I would suggest, wrap a warm blanket around you or at least pack one. Make sure you have some dry clothes and get in the car and the heater, and that'll help you keep warm. So how much time do you have in the water if you fall in? Well, here's a chart that I'm going to give you a rough estimate. Now, the actual time may vary depending on your stage and body fat and how much you move in the water. The more move in the water, as I said earlier, the quicker you're going to lose energy as well as lose body heat. Now, the smaller you are, the more susceptible you are to heat loss, while the bigger you are, you can retain a little bit more heat. If a storm hits, make camp right away. Constructing tents and tarps takes time and energy. Now, if you wait too long to create a shelter, the cold may sap your strength before you get the chance to even finish. Now, continue to contract your muscles and keep your blood flowing. Avoid strenuous activities that take too much energy. Symptoms of mild hypothermia include shivering, weakness, and confusion. They set in when the core body temperature reaches around 95 degrees. After that, as you start dropping your core body temperature, bad things can happen. Like at 91 degrees Fahrenheit, you can experience amnesia. At 82 degrees Fahrenheit, you lose consciousness. Below 70 degrees Fahrenheit, you're said to have profound hypothermia and death can occur. Now, a typical rule of thumb is that a person should not enter the water without proper gear, like a wetsuit or dry suit, if the air and water temperature doesn't exceed 120 degrees combined. However, even then, you need to exercise extreme caution in cold water. Now, if you found this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.